everyone that's joining in, kindly type your name and your, if you knew me, you'd know, response in the chat, and I'll be reading a couple of chats. Meanwhile, to our amazing panelists, I want you to quickly play the game with me. So we can begin with Francisca, and then you can mention the next panelist to go next, just saying your name and playing the game. So Francisca, you can start.
Awesome. Thank you, Beryl, and welcome everyone. It's nice to see you all here. I'm Francisca Zanga, and I know we'll do full intros later. So hi, I'm Francisca Zanga. If you knew me, you'd know that I love gardening. And I pass it over to Daisy.
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Daisy. If you know me, you know that I love finding practical ways to solve real problems, especially in my baby. I also love my baby, so he's just next to me and barking really loudly.
Sorry, did you pass it on to me?
Yes, let me now pass it on to Terry.
Hi everyone, I am Terry, and if you know me, you would know I love adventure. I love hosting guests and being around people. Thank you.
That's really, really nice. Now I feel like I know you guys a little more better. So I see Iris saying that if we knew her, we'd know she loves kids. Ivy, are you able to see more responses on your end?
No, I can only see for Iris. She said, you would know I love working with kids. Melody Nyamboke, if you knew me, you'd know I love trying new recipes. Oh, that's nice. Chef in the making. Phoebe Mbithe, hi, I'm Phoebe. If you know me, you'd know I love empowering communities. Oh, lovely. Welcome to Mama Mzazi Talk. Hi, Shiko. If you knew me, I would know I love working with women and tea. We will welcome you one day for tea. Yvonne, hi everyone. My name is Yvonne. If you knew me, you'd know I love putting smiles on people's faces. If you know me, this is Wanjiko Itambo. If you know me, you'd know I love traveling, especially with my family. I love that too. Welcome everyone. Karibuni sana. Liz Kisio, okay, she's having some issues, but she's a foodie and she loves exploring restaurants. Quimo, General, if you know me, you'd know I love working with women. Karibuni sana. Hi, Faith. She says, if you'd know me, you'd know I'm fueled by coffee and books. Francisca, you'd love that one. Yeah. Jasmine Nganga, if you knew me, you'd know I love my house plants. Oh, we love our plants. Yes, we do. My kind of person. All right. And for me, if you know me, you'd know I love working with kids, and I also love dogs, and I love food. I love many things. So welcome, Martha. Welcome, everyone. Karibuni sana. I think I'll take it back to you, Beryl, for you to start.
Thank you so much, Ivy. I feel like now I also know the participants a little bit more. So we will now officially begin, and I will begin by introducing who we are. In case you don't know me again, my name is Beryl, and I work here at Mama Mzazi, and I'm really, really happy to be a team here, or a team member. So we will begin by introducing to you guys who we are, what we do, and how you guys can also be a part of what we do. So Mama Mzazi is an organization dedicated to the holistic growth and development of both parents and their children. And after that brief introduction, I will introduce Francisca Nzanga, who is also the CEO and co-founder of Mama Mzazi, to introduce more about what we do, and she'll also be in the panelists. So Francisca, welcome.
All right, thanks, Beryl, for that. And welcome, everyone. It's great to see you all here. So as Beryl has mentioned, Mama Mzazi is all about the holistic growth and development of children. And we do this through one is our Budding Leaders program, which we're going to be speaking a bit more about. And I see a few of you who've had your children go through our program. The Budding Leaders program is a training and mentorship program for children, especially teens and pre-teens, ages 10 to 18. Who are going to be mentored and given resources and tools around confidence building, leadership skills development, entrepreneurship, and career progression. In addition to this, we also offer training sessions for parents, our Mama Mzazi talks such as these and others, a few in person, others virtually, and we also have one coming up on Mother's Day, where we provide parents with information and training on how to better care for their kids. And we also have a lot of resources on our socials, on our website on how to care for kids. Everything from pregnancy all the way to when they're 18 and moving out of their house, you have a whole host of information. And for those who are expecting, it's also broken down into weeks of what to expect. So a lot of information there. Beryl, if you could go to the next slide. We work with school CBOs and churches and other community organizations. Of course, we have also our independent programs, which we'll dive a little bit into later. So this is just some images from some of our previous camps, as you can see here. And we can see all of our different budding leaders across different segments. And even in our next slide, you can also see a couple of other budding leaders from our other budding leaders as well. From our different camps, we support both boys and girls. So that's a bit about who we are as Mama Mzazi. And we enjoy having these sessions, talking to parents, bringing in experts who will be introduced soon. And we also just enjoy also hearing and learning from you all, being able to respond to all of your questions. And when it comes to the camps, we enjoy also being able to work with you to nurture the next generation of leaders, the budding leaders. So Beryl, over to you.
Thank you so much, Francisca. So again, I have seen a couple of people were still joining the call. Welcome, everybody. And just to remind every one of you, our talk today is titled Empower Her, and it's in honor of Women's Day, as well as I guess March is just a Women's Month. And we're going to have some real talk on resilience, self-love, and how to step into our power. So if you're a guy, I have seen Crispinus has joined. Don't leave the call. This call is for both women and men, and we're going to have an amazing panel that I will be asking a couple of questions, and you guys can also ask a couple of questions, and together we are going to empower her. So welcome everyone, and we will begin. So I will begin by introducing the panelists who we have here with us today. So if you can see the emojis on your screen, I just want you to pick whichever you like for us to welcome our first panelist, and I'll begin by choosing that emoji. Please interact with the emojis on your screen. Thank you so much. So I will begin by introducing the first speaker. Her name is Terry Shiundu. Terry Shiundu is a senior HR professional. She's an author and teen coach with over 15 years of experience developing people and culture. I will introduce Terry so she can tell you guys more about herself and you can know her more on a personal level. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you, Beryl, and hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I think I wouldn't say much, but I would say I'm a HR professional, been practicing HR for the last 15 years. I am a pastor. I am a certified wisdom coach. I work with children, just coaching children through stories from the age of 6 to 12, but also work with teens and young adults, also as a career coach. And most importantly, I love Jesus. I am born again, and I am a mother, married, and a mother of 3. Thank you so much. Back to you, Beryl.
Thank you so much, Terry. As you guys have heard, she is an amazing author who's written a book called The Way She Leads. And if you would like to purchase the book, we'll be pasting the link on the chat and you can follow the instructions on how to purchase it. So Ivy will assist me by pasting the link. And in case you have any questions, you can reach out to us as well. I will introduce my second speaker. Her name is Daisy Isiaho. Guys, interact with the emojis on your screen again. Please, let's welcome Daisy. So Daisy is the co-founder and CPO of Zuri Health. She has built a reputation as one of Kenya's outstanding business leader, a mentor, and a go-getter in the corporate tech space, if I'd call it that. So welcome, Daisy, so that you can tell people more about you and they can know you on a personal level. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Beryl, and I'm always honored to have to be in spaces like this where we empower each other into our journeys. My name is Daisy Siaho, and I'd like to say that I'm a builder of tech, of businesses, and solutions that are actually more accessible across Africa. So when we started Zuri Health, we started it with a very simple mission, but a powerful mission to equip anyone with a mobile device, regardless of your location, your health history, or social status, access healthcare services. So today we've expanded across multiple markets, partnered with big corporates and giants, and impacted millions of lives. But trust me, none of this came easy. So I'm really excited to share some of those lessons with you today, and more importantly, to learn from the amazing women in this space. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Daisy. The thing I like about Zuri Health is that it creates convenience and that you can have a doctor come to your doorstep. So even for like your annual doctor visits, you guys can contact Zuri Health and you can see how you can have a doctor at your doorstep, maybe even tomorrow. So I will be pasting the link to their website and to their profile on the chat, and you guys can reach out to them. Remember, self-love is all about taking care of yourself, and having a doctor at your doorstep is a big step towards self-love. So thank you so much, Daisy, for the work that you do. And the next speaker is our very own Franciscah Nzanga. You guys, again, a big interaction with emojis on your screen. The ones who are not interacting with emojis on your screen. Thank you so much, guys. So Franciscah may not be new to most of you here, as she is actually the host to all the Mama Mzazi talks since they started. So we are at episode 14, meaning she's hosted 13 episodes. This is the first time we are breaking monotony here and having me host. So you guys might have interacted with her, and she is the CEO and co-founder of Mama Mzazi, the organization that is hosting you guys here tonight. And with that, I will let her introduce herself and tell us more about her and so we can know her on a personal level. Welcome, Franciscah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beryl. And yeah, it feels nice to be on this other side of this virtual table, interacting with you all and being the one who's asked the questions rather than asking it. But welcome again, everyone. And I'm so excited to see you all here. And I'm so excited also to be interacting with our amazing panelists. Franciscah Zanga, as you've heard, mentioned, and I've worked we founded Mama Mzazi actually in 2016, and we've had it running for a while now, supporting parents and supporting children, especially with our flagship Budding Leaders program. And before that, I've worked with various organizations leading their work around leading their operational work around strategy, expansion, and growth. And beyond that, also, I'm an entrepreneur, and I love mentoring people. I love helping to support even other female leaders, and being able to have this opportunity and this platform to be speaking with you all and being able to also support over 1,000 budding leaders is quite humbling. So thank you as well for the opportunity and for trusting us to do this work. And I look forward to a really exciting engagement.
Thank you so much, Franciscah. Guys, again, interact with emojis on your screen. You can even give love hearts. I can see someone who's given a love heart. Thank you so much. And guys, if you haven't visited our website, we will still paste the link on the chat, and you guys can also check us out. And in case of any questions or contributions, feel free to use the chat space. We love an engaging audience. And so we will address anything that you write to us on the chat space. And Now I will go to the panel session where I will be asking the panelists a set of questions and they will answer. And you guys can always write the questions in the chat box or chat space again. And so we will begin. So Terry, you are a powerhouse in storytelling. So how can young professionals use the art of storytelling to embrace self-love and own their narratives?
Thank you, Beryl. That's a really good question. And one thing I love to say is that your story is your story. No one has lived it for you. You have lived it, and no one can tell it better than you. And that's why it's important for us to tell our stories, because they are our stories. It's personal. I have lived it. I've been there, done that, sat there. I'm the only one who can tell the experience of being in that place because I've lived the story. And so how do you use that to embrace self-love and own your narrative? Just remember, number one, it's your story. No one can tell it better than you. And know that, first of all, that being vulnerable to talk about your story is not a weakness. It's a strength. In fact, telling your story is what brings out the best of you because you're being authentic. You're being real. It's about you. And so you're not telling somebody else's story. It's you who has lived it. It's your journey. And so tell it. Never be afraid to tell your story. It is only you who can truly tell it as it is. And secondly, be compassionate, to yourself. Sometimes I think we are so hard on ourselves because of the experiences we have had. Tell your story with compassion. I mean, you tried, you did your best. You might have failed, you might have fallen, you might have gotten into the wrong relationship, you might have been duped into, entering into something that you didn't really have the full picture about it. Yes, you did it, but that's it. Be kind to yourself. You learned, take the lessons out of it and pick up yourself and let it be a growth story, much more than thinking about the challenges or saying, I wish I knew that. I wish I really trusted my instincts. And sometimes women, we find ourselves in such a place that I wish I trusted my instincts, about that guy or about that job or about this thing I got into. But you already went into it and you picked a few lessons out of it that will help you in the future. So be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself, know it's your story. You don't have to, cry about it and, feel down all through. Rise up from it and get the lessons out of it and be a powerhouse as you tell your story so that others can grow from it and learn from it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry. Honestly, I feel so inspired. And I love that you said telling your story is what brings out the best in you, and that you're the only person who can tell your own story. No one else can tell it better than you. Even your mom cannot tell your story better than you would tell it. So thank you so much for those nuggets of wisdom and for reminding us that we can always learn and grow from our stories instead of blaming ourselves, and that it's our story. We need to own it and let others learn and grow from the story. Thank you so much, Terry. That's very, very inspiring. And I hope you guys are learning so much and even maybe taking tiny little notes. So our next question goes to the lovely Daisy. So Daisy, tech and entrepreneurship can be tough fields, especially for women. What are the key lessons you've learned about resilience while navigating the startup world?
Yes. So before I start, I think Terry was just speaking directly to me. As an entrepreneur, you're always told you need to learn how to share your story, tell your story, the art of storytelling when you're building. And when this question comes in about just resilience, When people talk about resilience, it really sounds like this big dramatic thing. It's like bouncing from, back from major failures. But honestly, when I look at resilience, it happens in everyday moments. You have to push through when funding sometimes takes longer than expected. It's in handling rejection without losing your faith in your vision. So how can you even stay in course when things are feeling very overwhelming? So for me, resilience has really meant a lot of being learning and adapting very quickly. So when we started Zuri Health, we had this grand vision, but reality hit very fast. We had, regulations that slowed us down. We had partnerships that took time to really mature, and not just everyone believed in our model at first. So you really need to, assure yourself, to focus on yourself, on why you started what you're building and why you're doing this. So a few things that actually helped me was keeping that why very close to me, the vision that will keep you grounded when even things get tough. Then you have to build a very strong support system. When you're building about entrepreneurship, it's not a solo sport. Sometimes you want to build things individually as an island. You're scared of people copying your model. You're always, looking at people as competition. But you have to build a team. You have to rely on your team. You need to build a network of mentors, of peers, and people who can help you, build in terms of those times when it becomes very challenging. And then one thing that we always forget, and I think also Terry mentioned it, you have to be kind to yourself. So part of it is failure. And failure is actually part of that process. So you have to just continuously learn, adjust, and keep moving. Don't forgetting why you started it. Just to make it brief, I always rely on some of my key 5 Ps. One of it is you have to have passion for what you're doing. You need to have perseverance. You need to be persistent. You need to have the right people, and you need to have the power. So whatever you have to do, build it resiliently, and understanding that you're building something that did not just come in from the blues. It is a vision that you initially had, and you need to make this vision come to life.
Thank you so much, Daisy. I guess what I have really, really picked from what you've said is you have to believe in your why. You have to believe in your vision. Other people might not believe in what your vision is, but you have to be the one believing in it and being very kind to yourself, and even assuring yourself. And I have learned that you've summarized it in 5 Ps. You've said passion for what you love doing or for what you're doing. Perseverance, you have to be persistent, so never giving up, regardless of how many times you fail. What matters is how many times you pick yourself, dust yourself up, and move on. And then people that you surround yourself with, and the power that maybe is in your storytelling, the power that you have in selling your vision, and the power that you have in maybe picking yourself up each and every time that you fail. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm actually learning a lot. And you guys can also write what you're picking up from the conversation that I'm having with the panelists, and you can always keep on typing your questions. And again, remember to interact with the emojis on your screen. Yeah. So we're going to go to Franciscah. So Franciscah, you'll often hear people speak about imposter syndrome, especially in leadership roles. What's your go-to strategy for overcoming moments of doubt?
Awesome. Thank you for that. And it speaks a lot when it comes to moments of doubt. It speaks actually to what both Terry and Daisy have said. Being kind to yourself when you're doubting yourself. There's always this negative voice in your head. So you need to be kind to yourself and almost give yourself room to learn and to grow. And then when Daisy talked about resilience, it's really about pushing through, powering through those moments of doubt. Now, I have a very different approach or view of imposter syndrome, so bear with me. What I find is that most people who struggle or always complain about imposter syndrome, it always are managers or leaders, people in senior positions. You will rarely hear junior officers, people straight out of campus talking about imposter syndrome. And at some point, I asked myself, why is that? Why is it that when I was straight out of campus just starting to work, I wasn't saying, oh, I'm struggling with imposter syndrome. Instead, I knew that I'm straight out of campus and I need to learn and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so instead, I took the approach of let me learn, let me get people to help me, to mentor me, and let me talk to my bosses and to different people to help me grow. Whereas, and my view here is that when you get to a certain level as a leader, there's almost an element where you feel you've learned everything. And so when you find yourself in a position that you don't know something or you don't understand something or it's a new type of challenge, you then start to say, you get your mind, I guess, and your body is trying to flag that you need to learn here, you need to research more. But then I feel as if we've almost branded that as imposter syndrome and this bad negative thing. Whereas it's actually just you, the universe trying to let you know you're in a new situation. You need to research, you need to learn, you need to get mentors. And this really resonated with me when I was watching there was a talk by Stephen Bolle. I don't know how many of us know him, but he was saying he looks for imposter syndrome. He looks for those areas where he's feeling like he's being challenged. He's being put in a place where he's being stretched. And so what I would put forward to everyone here is, let's look at imposter syndrome with a different light, maybe looking at the glass half full, right? It might actually be a way or a signal, a sign in the universe telling you you're in a new situation, you're in a new challenge, or you're facing a new type of hurdle that you need to cross, and it requires you to learn something new. So it's not a bad thing to not know everything. I believe we all have room to grow and learn. It's actually just trying to push us to be better, to continue to grow, and to continue to build our strength as leaders. So that's how I view imposter syndrome.
Thank you so much, Francisca. I feel like you're actually directly speaking to me, because I feel like sometimes I struggle with imposter syndrome, but sometimes you actually ask yourself, is that even real? And I think we also got to learn more about it at some conference we were at some summit we were at. And they were actually saying imposter syndrome is something we put on ourselves. They were saying now we got learned and then started coming up with words to actually kind of limit ourselves. And I love what Francisca had said. She said, you have to kind of be very kind to yourself and see those limitations as ways for you to grow, instead of stuff that will kind of put you down or put you back. And I love what Francisca, you said, look for areas where you're being challenged. I guess that is one thing I will start doing, and maybe even the panelists, the participants can tell us in the chat. We need to look for areas where we are being challenged, and we need to see hurdles as room for growth, and that we can learn and be better. Thank you so much, Francisca. We will go again to Terry. So Terry, in your experience as a leadership trainer, what are the biggest mindset shifts that women need to make to truly step into their power? I love this question.
Yes, it's a great question. And I think one that comes to mind is women are always apologizing. I don't know why in the workplace that you will find it's so easy for men to give their suggestions, their ideas, and to bring, to table what their thoughts are. But for women, we will start with, I'm sorry, but could we think about it this way? Or you will start a sentence with, I think we should consider this. We are constantly apologizing, yet you have the answer. You actually have the solution to the problem. So I think the first one I would say is that we need to stop apologizing and be assertive in our communication. Of course, sometimes as women, when we are assertive, then we are considered to be rude. But when men are assertive, they are not rude. They are actually strong and confident. And, it's a societal thing. But as women, I would say the first thing is, yes, we've been socialized to really be, pitiful. We are not very assertive, and we tend to seek validation. We tend to want to consult. Do you think this idea is good? And so we are afraid to say it. Why don't you say it? Then think about it later. And sometimes you will sit in a meeting and ideas come and somebody says the exact idea you had because you are afraid to say it, because you are thinking, how you will say it. So let's be assertive in our communication. And that's the first thing we need to shift from our mind, how we were socialized as women. And be confident in your ideas, be confident in your communication. Secondly, I have found that for many jobs, and you will see this in the statistics, men will apply when they have 60% of the qualifications. But a woman is waiting to get to 100% qualifications to apply for that promotion, to apply for that, that new role. We are constantly second guessing ourselves, feeling like, am I qualified? Do I really fit? Because we are thinking, oh, I have children, I have a family. Women, we can do it. We can do it. I mean, I can't tell you how many things I have stretched myself to do. Francisca has known me for a while. So we can do it. We just need to take that bold step. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I can do this. You can do this. And so apply for it. Even if you have just 50% of the qualifications for that role. It might be the 1% that you have that they were looking for, not the 99%. So go for it. And finally, I would say, keep a record of your wins so that you not only you can celebrate, but you can be able to confidently talk about your achievements. Many times as women, we are not keeping we are not keeping track of our achievements. We have achieved so much in life, but we rarely talk about it. We don't want to be seen as, we are imposing ourselves or something. No, keep a record of your achievements, talk about them, introduce yourself, be bold as you face people, as you face that panel that you need to face to talk about what you have achieved. Be confident about it. As I said, as I was starting, your story is your story. No one has lived it. And so no one can tell it better than yourself. Thank you.
Moment of silence for all that to sink in. Gosh, thank you so much, Terry. Wow, how will I even summarize this? I think I will kind of just quickly summarize it, but in point form. So one thing for sure, guys, we need to stop apologizing. We need to be very bold and we need to be very assertive. So we need to stop saying, I think, maybe, I guess. And I guess I've used the term. I feel like it's easy for women especially to use those words. I'll be pinching myself anytime I use them. And you've also told us to look in the mirror and say, I can do this. So what you're trying to say is we need to look in the mirror and always affirm ourselves, or we need to actually be that bold voice at the back of our heads. And we need to keep a record of our wins. Guys, I want to ask you a question, or pose a question to you. How many people keep a record of their wins? So how many people, instead of thinking of how many times they've failed, they actually look at how many times they won? So that can be a question as we continue with the questions, the panel questions. And the last one is be very bold, be very confident. I feel like be so bold that when you walk in a room, you actually address them even before you speak, Yeah, so stepping into our power, guys. So thank you so much, Terry. We go to Daisy again. So Daisy, Zuri Health has managed to scale to multiple markets and even built great partnerships with the likes of Bayer and Safaricom, among others. What advice would you give to women trying to navigate scaling and collaborating with giants while running a startup?
I was still absorbing what the powerful words from Terry.
Me too.
The achievements. But I mean, when you talk about scaling, working with big corporations as a startup founder can actually feel like playing in a major leagues with a very tiny team. So we work with companies that have structures, they have processes, and sometimes they have a whole lot of bureaucracy. So how do you now, get them to take you seriously? So a few things have worked for me is, first of all, you really need to know your value. You want to work with people who, understand what you're bringing to the table. And when you look at large organizations, the likes of Safaricom, M-Pesa Foundation, Bayer, they also want innovation. And when you're building a startup like, Zuri Health, we bring agility, we bring fresh thinking, and you need to own that even as an entrepreneur in your own mindset. Then another thing you really need to be prepared. So when you have these opportunities presenting themselves, when the opportunities come, you don't want to start scrambling to put things together. You need to have your numbers, you need to have your impact, you need to have your business case clear, you need to have your story, the power of storytelling, sharing it as clear and concise as it can get. Then a lot of patience and persistence, my two P's, part of the being being patient and persistent. So when you work with big corporates, they actually move at their own pace, because when you're building a startup, you're always like on a roller coaster. You want to get things out, but with big corporates, they move at their own pace. So you really need to follow up, you need to stay engaged, and you also need to keep reminding them why your solution matters. So what you really need to understand from all these things, you cannot get this if you do not understand your worth. So you don't need to downplay your worth ever, whether you're small, whether you're tiny, whether you have one paying customer, whether you have zero traction. If you're able, if you know what you're doing, just bring it to the table. It means you actually deserve to be there, and you have to show up with confidence. So when I approach big corporates, I always tell myself, the reason why they're there is because they also started with a place. They did not just wake up and they're like, okay, there's this fine big giant corporation. So you need to start somewhere, and whatever you have to do, just know your value and never downplay your worth.
Thank you so much, Daisy. I hope you guys are taking notes. One thing I have picked up is, at the end of the day, just remind yourself that everyone started from somewhere. The same way we all were babies once and now we are adults is the same way you should always remember or remind yourself in regards to whatever it is you're trying to grow or build. And I love that you've also reminded us to be patient and persistent. Most of the times we want things to happen like in a snap of a finger, and we forget that at the end of the day, it's not realistic, and we are only, maybe causing ourselves more pain or hurting ourselves more. And I love that you've said keep on following up. So keep on following up. At the end of the day, they're giants. They're working with tiny little companies, like maybe millions of them. So keep on following up, be very persistent, and know your worth, and then bring that to the table. So thank you so much, Daisy. We will now go to Franciscah. So Franciscah, if you could empower African women in leadership and innovation in one specific way, what will that be? I'm actually very interested to get this answer. So yeah, go on, Franciscah.
If I could empower women in leadership and innovation one specific way, okay. You'll allow me to say a few ways, but the one key area that I see, and it really speaks to what the other speakers mentioned around knowing your worth and being confident in yourself. It really is the giving yourself room to take space. So oftentimes we'll find whether you're running your own organization or you've been employed somewhere, you find that you're at times doubting whether or not you are meant to be there. But one thing that we need to remind ourselves is you went through an interview process. There was a long list of other candidates that they could have picked, but they chose you. It wasn't charity. They didn't say that, oh, we're choosing you out of this philanthropic desire that we have. They chose you because you had the qualifications and you deserved over every other applicant to be in that room. So take up that space. Don't start second guessing yourself or wondering, why am I here? The interview process has passed. You've passed. Or if it's you're applying for a funding or a fellowship, you've passed. You deserve to be there, right? So be willing to take up space. And so that just speaks to what the other speakers said. Be willing to take up space and be willing to, don't wait for permission. Some of the things I find, especially when I'm working with new hires, you'll often find the men are very eager to take up different things and start to do it, but then women are waiting to be told. They'll come and ask you, is it okay if I do this? Is it okay if I do that? I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask for guidance. Yes, information is important, but don't always just wait to be told, to be given permission to do things. Sometimes if you believe that you should be doing this, or you should be, this is how we should be proceeding, or there's a challenge and you have a solution for it, then go for it, right? If you have this great idea or new innovation you want to do, start, build it. If you have this new solution that you want to test out, test it out, and then come to your manager. I've done a test on this. This is what I've found. Or I've done research on this. This is what I've found. Don't go and ask for permission to do the research. Right? Go do the research, get the insight, and then come and say, these are the things that I've found and learned about this particular thing. And I think we should proceed in this way. Yeah. So that is one thing, being willing to take up space and to go after what you want. But in addition to that, a few additional pieces I would say that we as women need to strive to do as leaders and innovators is also be willing to fail. They are this fear of failure or this perfection mindset that we put on ourselves, and it could be also from childhood and needing to always be number one in class because all of our parents were number one in class, right? And needing to always get straight A's. What doesn't really serve us as adults and in the real world. The only way to learn is through failing. So you need to be willing to take risks, and even when you make mistakes, take that as an opportunity to learn. What am I learning from this? What am I getting from this? And then, of course, make wise failures. Don't just go forth blindly. Make wise failures. But then also when you fail, learn from it and continue to improve. Continue to iterate on your process and on what you're doing. And that just culminates with my last piece of being willing to learn. As a leader, as an innovator, you need to learn. You need to research. You need to go out there. You need to seek insight from others as well in this space. Find people who you can learn from, and it doesn't mean that you need to learn from them like in person. I need so and so to be my mentor. Also through books, through podcasts, through listening to people's blogs, reading their articles, watching their interviews. Through those opportunities, you also get to learn from other key leaders and players in the industry as well. So I know you asked for one. I've given you 3 buckets, but yes, that is one way I would look to empower a lot of African leaders, women in leadership, and to really go out and innovate and lead. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Francisca. I feel like what I have taken from overall, maybe it's just me, I've just gotten an overall view of like just jitume, just be very uncomfortable, being very like timid, jitume too, be very proactive. And I love that Francisca began with saying know your worth. When you know your worth, you're able to present yourself with so much confidence and so much grace. And when you're confident in yourself, you're able to give yourself also room to grow and room to learn. And as Francisca said, be willing to learn you can learn from podcasts, YouTube. And these days with like Google on our fingertips, we can learn from anywhere. You can even like enroll for Harvard classes that are free online, or you can always put yourself in spaces where you can learn. And I love that you've said, we need to not second guess ourselves. And I think that is another main thing I have picked from your response. So guys, don't second guess yourselves. If you want to wake up tomorrow and start a jewelry business, just start. Maybe go to the bank, borrow a loan, borrow your friends, just start. Thank you so much, Francisca. And I want to remind you guys to keep on sharing your questions in the chat space. We will be looking at the questions after. So if you are having questions, just type. And we are going to our last set of questions. So we will again begin with Terry. So this is like a fireside. Question. So guys, I would like all of you to tell me or tell us all in the call, what do you love most about womanhood or about being a woman? Maybe I can give you guys a minute or two, and maybe I can also tell you guys what I love most about being a woman. And you guys can also chat with us on the chat space and let us know what you love the most about being a woman. For me, I feel like being a woman is fun. I can draw my eyebrows, wrap them tomorrow. I can put on lashes, remove them tomorrow. I can do a million hairstyles in a year. I guess being a woman is fun and I love that. So this time around, I'll start with Daisy, and then Daisy can nominate the next person. And of course, after the second person, the other one is the one who's not spoken. She'll go next. So Daisy, you can go first.
Happy to. So I love, 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 love that being a woman or womanhood is very powerful. It's very multifaceted or faceted, and there's something very incredible about how women hold space for themselves, for their families, for their communities, and even for their dreams. So for me, the fact that womenhood, we're able to uplift each other is something that is very enticing for me. Yes, Terry, I throw the button.
Thank you. What do I love most about womanhood or being a woman? The fact that we bring forth life, that I have 3 human beings I watch growing every day that came from my womb, that, by God's grace, I brought into this world. I think it's very fascinating. It's for me, when I think about that aspect, the fact that we have a human being growing inside of us up to 9 months, then we give birth, and now you're watching this person grow. That fascinates me about being a woman. Thank you. And I pass on to Francisca.
Awesome. I'm also just reading everything on the chat that others have pasted as well around what they love regarding womanhood. So it's also nice to read that and to hear what everyone is saying. What I love about being womanhood and being a woman is also the connections that we're able to build. I think growing up, there was a lot of that thing of, women are enemies, never trust a woman. But what I'm realizing going into adulthood, and especially these generations that are here now, we have a lot more closer bonds. We're supporting each other, we're collaborating more, we're connecting more. Oftentimes when I reach out, even the panelists, the fact that we have a all-female panel here just shows that has changed. That narrative has changed. And I hope it continues to change in the next generation, where we can collaborate a lot more closer. We can help to build each other up. We can help to, even in the workplace, to help our female, we should work well with everyone. Don't get me wrong. We should collaborate well. But seeing a lot more closer bonds and seeing those friendships form, people who've been friends from childhood. I've known all of you for over, I believe, 5 years or so. It's been a long time, but just having those that ability to create those strong bonds and connections and being able to really help each other to grow. Yeah, that's what I love about it.
Thank you so much, Francisca. And I have seen really amazing responses as well on the chats. And I can just maybe read like 2 or 3. I love that as a woman, God has given me intrinsic capabilities. That's coming from Liana. And Maggie is saying women are intuitive and generally caring and loving their families and communities. And someone is saying she loves that she can multitask and she has so much potential in being a woman. That's coming from Caroline. And that's really, really nice. And someone is also saying women uplift each other. I love that. Thank you so much, guys. I guess we all love and embrace our womanhood, and that's really, really amazing. So I will, as you guys continue chatting and writing your questions in the chats, I want to share quick testimonials from our budding leaders. So again, you can see our lovely kids showing you what they've done. This was a gratitude session where they're showing you their gratitude jars that we gifted them, because we are really, really practical and hands-on people. So I will read one testimonial. So I have been focused in my studies this term. I used to think that math is hard, but I built my confidence and got 72%, which is a big improvement from 42%. I also joined football club and I love school more. We're also going to be reading a testimonial from the budding leaders' parents. So before my daughter joined the budding leaders, she used to have anger issues, which strained our relationship. After mentorship, she's more accommodating. She has also become more organized and focused. She told me her personality is a planner. Do you guys know your personalities? Okay, so our budding leaders kids know their personalities. So you guys need to sign up your kids so they can also know their personalities. So now we've gotten to the Q&A section. Our webinar was to end at 8, but we can have 8 more minutes, or let's say 10, where you guys ask questions and the panelists answer, and we are going to be done. So let me begin with the question on how do you overcome imposter syndrome, especially when you're trying to pursue your purpose. And I think I will throw this question to Franciscah, literally throwing. So Franciscah, you can answer it and then I can continue.
All right, love that. How do you overcome imposter syndrome? So we spoke about this a bit, and as I said, I take a different approach to imposter syndrome. I view it as it's really just yourself, your body or your mind telling you that you are in a space where you need to learn more. So if you're saying you're feeling imposter syndrome around pursuing your purpose, what I'll do is I'll actually list down, like, this is your purpose. What are the things you need to, what are the skills you need or the things you need to know in order to pursue your purpose? What are the areas you need to grow in? And then start working on those areas. So let's say, for example, you want to become, I don't know, a chef for a certain type of delicacy. So writing down, what does it entail to become a chef? What are the different key elements around knowing how different ingredients interact, knowing different tastes, different palettes and stuff like that. What you need to know in order to eventually go to become a chef. What are some of the schools that teach that? What are there mentors you can get? So whatever your purpose is, list down the items that you need to improve upon, or the items you need to learn in order to achieve it. Where are you on in terms of capacity and skill set on those items, and who can you loop in, or what areas or avenues can you go to in order to grow your skills in that area?
Thank you so much, Franciscah, and thank you, Oprah, for asking the question. I hope you've been answered, and I will ask the next question to Terry. So Terry, how do you overcome rejection, and how can one get a mentor?
Wow, interesting question. I grew up with rejection for many years as a result of my background and, just, the way you're raised and you constantly feel that you're not important, you're not worth. So it's really about, and I realized at some point after I got into college, it affected me just, a few months, but then I made a decision to grow myself. So sometimes rejection comes because we feel that we are not good enough. And so we feel that we are rejected because we are not good enough. So we are not confident in ourselves and what we bring to the table. And I would say partly just based on what Franciscah said, build yourself, build your skill, invest on yourself, and then know your self-worth. Know your self-worth. It's something I constantly tell my children, know your self-worth. You're not in a competition with anybody. As I said, everyone's journey is personal. You're not competing with anyone. So live in your lane, build yourself up in the way that's comfortable to you. And yes, you can stretch yourself, put for yourself things along the journey that you need to do that will stretch you and make you more, stronger and resilient. But the first thing is to really know your self-worth, that what you bring to the table, you're fully aware that this is what I can do, and you're confident about it. And you can talk it, even in your sleep. I say sometimes I can do HR in my sleep because I have done it for so many years that whatever you ask, I will sort of just respond. Yeah. So be very confident in who you are. Then even when you're told no, it won't come out as rejection, but you will see it as an opportunity to get better in that area of growth, or that the area that you're looking to grow in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry. Yeah, I love that response. I hope, Trixie, you've gotten a response. I will quickly answer Yvonne's question on any program for toddlers, ages 5 onwards. So, Yvonne, our program caters 9 to 18-year-olds. So, for now, we do not have a program for toddlers, but our CEO is here. She's maybe listened to what you guys are asking, and maybe we can see what to do with your toddlers, because everyone wants to raise really smart toddlers and hands-on. So that's really noted. Thank you for that question, Yvonne. And Ivy has also pasted the links below, so you can check us out and reach out to us. So Abishai is asking that, does the Budding Leaders program also cater for boys? Yes, our program caters for both girls and boys. So you can bring your boys all aged 10 to 18 to our programs. We will be happy to have them. Liz is asking, what challenges did you face starting out your business, and how did you overcome them? And lessons learned. So I know all of you guys have your businesses or have started your businesses, but I will give this question to Daisy. So Daisy, if you could answer the question, that would be nice.
Yeah, so for me, starting out, the biggest challenge was, first of all, access to funding, breaking into new markets, and actually proving that credibility, especially as a young female founder in tech. So that time, money was really tight. So you had to be very lean and resourceful. You need to, make the most of what you had while proving your model worked. So we had to really get people to believe in our vision, which actually took persistence. You had to knock a lot of doors. We actually had a lot of rejections. Behind the few yeses, we had like thousands of no's, but we still pushed forward. And actually, even with scaling, when we were scaling into the new markets, that also came with its own learning curve. So we had to really find the right partners for you. You needed to hire the right team members, and also just staying resilient through the setbacks. So all of these actually came with lessons as well. And part of the lessons that I actually learned was, actually, if you're looking for perfection, it will slow you down. So you just need to start and refine as you go, and start with what you have. Then another thing, you never need to really downplay your network. So your network is your everything. Whatever you have to do, you have to build relationships, because opportunities will always come from connections. So utilize this kind of connection, this kind of forums to be able to build relationship with people. Then you'll hear a lot of no's more than the times you can count. You still have to keep going. You need to stay adaptable. What works today might not really work tomorrow, and you have to be willing to pivot. I remember when we started in 2021, most people thought they knew Zuri Health as just a COVID-19 testing business or company. But down the line, we've really, pivoted and scaled into different kinds of business models. So you have to believe in your vision at first, and because if you don't, actually no one else will. So these are some of just the things that you need to understand. Whatever thing that you have going on, just keep pushing.
Thank you so much, Daisy. And I feel like most people who are starting out or who are afraid of starting out would really resonate from the response you've given. Just start. At the end of the day, you might fail or you will not fail, but you will never know if you don't start. Thank you so much, Daisy. And I hope you've been answered. If you're looking for perfection, it will slow you down.
Yeah.
So our last question is from Iris, and she's asking, how can one express their femininity within one's brand and business practices without the constant need to suppress it? So without having to be making your voice maybe bold so that people maybe listen to you more or respect you more. So Francisca, I will throw that question to you.
That's a very interesting question. And I feel like it's something I've also struggled with a bit earlier on in my career, where I in my mind, I knew that being a woman in a workplace was not good. And so you had to be more masculine. And so I was always in the trouser pants and, and in the trying to act formal and all of that. And I think it took, when I went into leadership and I was speaking with one of my mentors, they asked me, what kind of leader do you want to be, right? Forget all the leaders you admired and what they're saying. What kind of leader do you actually want to be? And it's at that moment that I took some time to actually reflect on the type of leader I want to be. And what I realize is there's a lot of power in your feminine self. Women are nurturers, as you had the panelists say. And when we go into the workplace, we look at everything, right? We look at we look at the entire person, and it's not just about the goals. You also put in measures in place to make more conducive environments for the team to continue to thrive. You look at even just the well-being of everyone within your organization and the strength in that. Yeah, the fact that you're able to, I heard a lot of you and a couple of the panel's members also talk about being able to create life and be able to grow that life into adults is a lot of, it requires a lot of power. And in the same way, you can nurture businesses, you can nurture leaders within your organization. So when you're talking about expressing femininity, it's knowing what does femininity mean to you, and how does it relate to you as a personal brand, as a leader. Is femininity for you about being nurturing and caring and making sure that you're building more conducive environment for the well-being of your team? Is femininity for you around creating more beauty, whether beauty and aestheticsness in what you're doing? What does it mean to you? And then when you know what that actually means, it's able for you to tie it around your brand and what you're doing, but also just appreciating the fact that there is power in that. Nothing and no one is a mistake. There's a reason that we have both men and women in the world, or feminine and masculine in the world. And so leaning in on that and knowing what that means and finding a way to use that to your advantage. I hope I've answered the question, Iris, but yes.
Thank you so much, Francisca. I bet you have. And one last question that I have not seen is someone is asking how they can, how do you practice self-care while working towards your goal? And that's our final question that I will ask to Terry. If you have any more questions, you can always email us and we will send a compiled response to you.
I think I would just say two things. One, set boundaries. I mean, just know how to manage your time and to really set boundaries. I think many times where we fail in self-care is that we don't know when to stop. You know, you're a mother, you're taking care of your children, you need to take care of issues around your spouse and your house, and then you have work, you have school, maybe you have all these things, but we never know when to say it is enough. So really listen to yourself, listen to your body. How are you feeling? Don't keep at it until you break down because you're trying to achieve, your purpose or your goal. As I said, be compassionate to yourself. So set boundaries, be very clear on what you need to do until when, and then just stop it. The world will still run. There's an interesting thing that's very hard for us to hear in the workplace, but it's the reality. When somebody drops down and dies, they will be replaced. And sometimes they're replaced almost immediately. So really learn to take care of yourself and to manage your time, manage your boundaries. It's something I really had to learn, especially juggling many things. And then work on, if you're feeling stressed, get help. Seek help. And that's why it's important to have a community of women. We just said in the chat, women are helpful. We reach out to each other. Please don't feel overwhelmed and you struggle by yourself. Seek help where you can. If you have, you need to get somebody to clean your house because you can't do it, don't feel guilty about it, about spending that extra money. If you need to go somewhere and you need to be by yourself, don't feel guilty about it. Seek help and reach out to the community around you so that you're able to also take care of yourself while you're trying to achieve your goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry. I think that was a perfect response to that question. Guys, we all need to rest and we all need to seek for help if it's becoming too much. So thank you so much to our amazing panelists, and a huge, huge, huge thank you to each one of you that joined and stayed up to now, till now. I want you to just interact with the emojis on your screen. Give yourself an emoji that you like. If it's a love heart, kindly give it to yourself, and also give it to the amazing panelists, and they will also give you some emojis as well. It has been an honor having each one of you here today, and it has been an honor celebrating Women's Day through this webinar with you guys. We hope that we have empowered each one of you. We've helped you guys learn more about self-love and how you can still do that while, being a powerhouse and being the amazing woman that you are. And we also hope that we have really, really helped you learn how to step into your power. Thank you so much, guys, again for joining in. And until our next webinar, keep safe. And remember that we are here for you guys in literally every sense that you would like to interpret that. So thank you, guys. And our number and email address is shared on the screen. You can take a screenshot and you can reach out to us at any time.